Neil Cavuto is making a comeback. He did that just yesterday after his second and more severe diagnosis for COVID, which nearly killed him, he did point out. But while he was out, he did notice many people who watched his show, many people who loved him for many years on Fox News, they were wishing for his death. Let's watch.
Tell the truth, a lot of you didn't think you would see this day, did you? And now you're relieved, I bet even overjoyed, probably pinching yourself, aren't you? Like Lisa, who wrote that she feared I had died and Fox just forgot to say anything about it. And I suppose there are some of you who, like Tina, didn't care either way. As she put it, it's very easy not to miss Cavuto. Or Janice, who kindly noted, dead or alive, as long as he isn't on my TV, it's a good day. Well then, sorry about today, Janice.
Man, well, I feel like he's taking it a bit in stride. But then again, you're like, Neil Cavuto, Fox News, why do people want him to die? He got COVID. Like, you're supposed to want your guys to come back. What is it that he said in the past? This is just from last year after when he had his first case of COVID.
I feel very strongly, and I know we live in this hyper, politicized age, that people get vaccinated. I know, a lot of people say that's a private decision. I get that, I appreciate that, but I'd like to urge people of all sorts, please get vaccinated. This situation, for me, being immunocompromised, half the cases we're hearing on the breakthrough front are among the immunocompromised. People like me who've had, and have multiple sclerosis or prior heart situation or cancer. There are many like that all around us. No one likes to be ordered to get a vaccine, but I can tell you right now, those who have been vaccinated are in far better position right now to survive this and even handle cases where they come down with this, precisely because they have the numbers proven. We've lost nearly 800,000 in the US. Take the political speaking points and toss them. For now, I'm begging you, toss them and think of what's good, not only for yourself, but for those around you. If you don't want to do it for yourself, if you think it's a pain in the ass, I get that. Right. But think of others around you. I dare say people who experience this and have seen loved ones who've been affected by this or heaven forbid die from this are not judging the wisdom of mandates. They're wishing they got vaccinated. Life is too short to be an ass. Life is way too short to be ignorant of the promise of something that is helping people worldwide.
Now, Francesca, before we go, because he had more from just yesterday talking about those that hate mail he's gotten, but just from that, just from him first saying, you guys wanted me to die, then we take a flashback and find out that it was because he went extensively. That was a minute and a half worth of it, but it was 7 minutes of him telling people, hey, don't be an ass, just get the shot.
I mean, I have to give him credit. He's the only one on Fox News that actually wants their audience to live, which you would think would be self-defeating if you were promoting the idea that the vaccine kills people or is not reliable. But he's the one guy, and I hate to say this, but always, whenever a conservative says the right thing, it's usually because they themselves are particularly affected. And in this case, Neil Cavuto, immunocompromised, heart conditions, etc. He is more susceptible to the negative effects or the idea you could even die from COVID. Now, that's not across the board, right? But he's immunocompromised. We all know people immunocompromised and they have fewer defenses even with the vaccine. But it's always the same way, right? Like they're anti-gay until their kid is gay. They don't understand paid family leave until they have a baby. And I hate the fact that every time when a right winger sees the light, it's because they're personally affected because they don't have object permanence and they don't understand there is a world outside of them. That being said, super credit to him, and I think he will not he's going to be on CNN pretty soon. He won't last on Fox.
You saw what happened with Chris Wallace, right?
Exactly.
It continues on. Now, by the way, there's no clapback like actually telling people who said, I wish you were dead, except saying, I'm here. And then there's also this. He rubbed in a little bit more about the vaccine. Watch.
I did get COVID again, but a far, far more serious strand, what doctors call COVID pneumonia. It landed me in intensive care for quite a while, and it really was touch and go. Some of you who wanted to put me out of my misery darn near got what you wished for. So sorry to disappoint you, but no, the vaccine didn't cause that. That grassy knoll theory has come up a lot. My very compromised immune system did. Because I've had cancer and right now I have multiple sclerosis, I'm among the vulnerable 3%ers or so of the population that cannot sustain the full benefits of a vaccine. In other words, it simply doesn't last. But let me be clear. Doctors say had I not been vaccinated at all, I wouldn't be here. It provided some defense, but that is still better than no defense. Maybe not great comfort for some of you, and frankly, not great comfort for me either. I didn't want to become the story, but for many of you, I did. So now you know the story. Time to get back to far more important matters.
No lie. I mean, Francesca, I think you would know. People come at you sideways, and then you want to find the best way and succinctly and quickly just say, you know what, F you too. And it's, yep. I think that was a longer version of a quick F you.
It was brilliant. It was so good, Janice. I saw your comment on Facebook. Okay, ha 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 ha. But like,
what's up now?
I love the honesty, right? Because I think that's the other thing is like, there is a personability to it. And I hate that it had to be him for him to talk like this. But again, no one else is giving it to them straight. No one else is saying that. And here we are cheering on deaths and essentially saying, if you die, you got what was coming for you. And yet, man, we know we've covered on this network the discrepancy between red and blue state voters and counties and how many COVID deaths there are. The fact that the people who are tuning into Fox News are far more likely to die precisely because of the misinformation that his colleagues are spreading. So, I mean, is it survival of the fittest or is it survival of the smartest? I think it's the latter, and Neil Cavuto is proof of that.
And it's just, yeah, and he said he was on the verge of it. Now, I'm sure people may say, hey, those libs, whenever there's someone who's unvaxxed or there's this talk show host who died and people go, ha, you died, huh? Because I've seen those videos, right? Now, maybe you may think that's a comparison. Now, the reason people wanted Neil Cavuto to die is because he said, please do something to save yourself. The people that died were unvaxxed, were pushing people to not do anything. And then when those people died, they went, whatever, I guess it was something else. That's heartless. And that's leading people to their deaths. So that could be the motivation for many people to go like, oh, so you got COVID, huh? And you're preaching against people protecting themselves, huh? Well, what's up now? Now that may seem heartless, but at least I think there's a logical approach to that versus this guy's trying to save people because he went through such a horrible situation. I want him to die. It just seems like a backwards approach for wanting someone to die. That's all. And I didn't wish death on anyone, but for those who did, you have to think about the motivations.